have a very good friend of mine, it's Gary, and later he'll introduce himself, and I'll just mute myself and I'll go and link Gopi. Okay, anyway, he's going to share with you how what are the marketing trends, as well as give some insights lah. And then also what does it take for a center to grow from 50 packs to 200 packs and beyond. And the reason why he said that is because he himself has the credibility because he only worked with bigger brands. And any bigger brand that you know out there, right, he has probably or is probably working with them right now. So his audience is he serves clients with multiple outlets lah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Gary. Pass to you. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks, John. So yeah, maybe just a quick introduction. Yeah. So I've been run tuition marketing formula or Spirit Digital. So as an agency, we specialize in education. So a lot of my clients have been tutors, and we have been doing this for about the past 10 plus years. Yeah. So John, we have been working together for quite long. I think I lost count, but maybe like 6 or 7 years lah. Most of
I think 10. I think
we know each other 10 years lah. Yeah.
Before COVID. Yeah. Before COVID. Just before COVID.
Yeah.
So about 8 years lah. About 8 years.
Yeah. Correct. So yeah, I think definitely when I first started, there were a lot of centers, a big range of centers that I work with. Then fortunately, of course, like some of them have grown to more branches, or they open up their center and all that. So a lot of my clients are a bit on the bigger side now, but I also do have some of the clients that are like one center kind of range. So basically the sharing that I feel will be useful for you today. Basically, I will just be sharing some of the observation points I see that why it makes some centers more successful in terms of growing to a certain range that they want, compared to maybe like, let's say you are stuck at a certain point and then you can't grow past a certain point. So I think I've seen enough centers to see that these are some of the common points that will help. So this I compiled a list of about 15 points or so that I will share on different areas. So that will be for the next 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah. Yep. So without further ado, I think we can get started. So I think I will want to probably preface with the fact that not everyone needs to keep growing. So there might be actually a certain range of students that is comfortable for you, comfortable for your lifestyle and the kind of business you want to run. When the bigger you want to grow, I think probably most people would know. The bigger you want to grow, then you probably need to start thinking about like having a team, grooming a team of teachers, of like admin staff, even marketing staff and all that kind of thing. So this is definitely, I feel, fundamentally it's not for everyone. If you are honestly comfortable with yourself, getting 50, 100 students, managing by yourself, and then you are comfortable with that, I feel in fact you should stay with that. But then if you, let's say, you want to expand a bit bigger, then you definitely have to consider much more factors. So I think the first area of coverage that I will be talking about will be about your center in terms of like where you are at, and how do you know whether you're ready to even take on like 200 students in the first place. So first point, I think if you feel stuck at your current number of students, let's say if you have plateau and you haven't gone above for some time, usually the reason why that happens is that you are for most of the time you are reliant on referrals, and then the referrals can only get you past a certain point. So certain number of students maybe give you like certain percentage of referrals, right? At a certain point, you will also need so-called fresh blood to come in, particularly if you have like batch graduation and all that. And you need to find a way to acquire these students. So of course, if you have a physical location, then there's a certain chance of walk-ins. If you do not, then you are only basically relying on referrals or relying on the website or whichever. So the solution for most people will be running ads that will be able to get them extra traction. So that is inevitable in the first place. If you, let's say you are looking to grow beyond your current cap number. If not referrals, more students, when they come in also mean more referrals, then you can kind of like get to the range of students that you want. Yep. So then the other thing to definitely consider is if you, let's say you actually had 200 students today, would you be able to actually find or have the resources to deliver on these 200 students without actually compromising on your teaching quality? So I think this is what most people may not have planned ahead of time. I think when you're a certain number, you are teaching all the classes yourself, basically, right? But when you are starting to scale, then actually before even doing that, you have to know that, okay, you have a certain contact to, maybe ex-MOE teachers or ex-students that may be interested to become private tutors and all that you can actually train up to, do some of the teaching alongside with you. It tends to be the case when, especially going beyond 200 students, right? Then you will start to take yourself out of the picture also and just focus on the business itself. So that's something that could happen, or you could, teach 1 or 2 classes after that. So So that's something that you definitely have to plan right now, not when you start getting students and then you start to plan, because you will be overwhelmed by everything that's going on. Yeah. So that will be an important factor. Number 3, right? For those who are centers, either you're a center or you're based in a certain location, I have seen that honestly, sometimes it is about the location. So whether your location, speaking simply, is near certain schools or near parents or younger parents that have students at your age group, that is definitely a very important factor. For some locations, honestly, it is really the location that cannot get more students. So it is very obvious when we run for even bigger brands, right, with multiple branches, how come certain branches just cannot get students? After testing everything we can, honestly, our only conclusion that's logical is that it's about the location. So you do have to consider that sometimes your location is also limiting your growth, and then you have to consider shifting to a more appropriate location for you. I'm not going into details about which area is good or whatnot. I think that's something that you can observe based on like how many tuition centers are there and all that lah. So that's something that can be done. Yep. So the other thing when you're considering getting more students, one of the important things you need to know is that you have to consider it's no longer about just you as a personal, teacher, personal brand and all that. You need to start thinking about what is your teaching methodology. That's one. And the second one is your team of teachers. So the team, the getting the teachers, I kind of mentioned. But the teaching methodology is one that I think is quite important when it comes to we are going to start talking about attracting students that is just beyond them coming for you. Of course, it can still be you who develop the teaching methodology, but increasingly as you shift towards like having this methodology, whatever you specialize at, as being good or the thing that is getting results for the students, the more you focus on that, then it tends to be able to give you another layer of consideration when it comes to parents considering you, and not just for you, or maybe going for your teachers instead of your classes only. So if you have not started on that already, then you definitely want to think about what are certain patterns behind the way you teach, and then form that into a methodology that you can kind of like communicate and explain to people that inquire and so on. Yep. So without this, then I mean, if you don't have this, even if you start running ads, it is kind of hard to scale beyond a certain point. Yep.
Now just chip in here. I think this is so important. Yeah. In the winter you can drink water. Yeah. Okay. I think some of you are my coaching clients, right? Do you remember why when you first came in, everything that we do, that you want to do, we put one side first. We start off with your signature program. Yeah. Which also means that it's so important for you to get clarity to know what made you stand out. Yeah. So what does that mean is, many tutors actually, when you interact with them, you ask them, so what do you teach? Then some will say, I teach science, I teach math, I teach geography. Yeah. Then most people just stop there. Yeah. It's okay for informal setting, but when you invest money into advertising, and if you're just going to let your ad say that you teach math, Chinese, or science, and that's it, Facebook will be very happy because you're just throwing money to them without any results. Yeah, because parents are going to scroll away. Yeah. So if there's something that makes you stand out, right? I think the very first step for all of us right here is to really get clarity. What makes you so special? What makes parents choose you? Beside another same subject tutor. Yeah. So in fact, to scale, right, in my opinion, it's not about looking at the big picture. Yes, can, but you also want to not look outward you look inward at actually what are you well known for. Yeah. I mean, that's my take. Yeah. Because most people are looking at outwards, what should I do? But I think it's an inward journey first at the start, at least.
Yep, I definitely agree. I think you want to, before you even spend your first dollar, if you have not spent before, or you want to scale on Facebook, then you want to make sure that you have as many things as possible first, so that when you start the engine running, you don't have to pause because of certain things that stop your way. Yeah. So another point, I kind of like related to that also. Nowadays, the parents of 10 years ago and the parents of today, when I started and now, definitely there are a lot more well researched than before. There's a lot of choices, obviously, and they will do plenty of research before they even consider you. So definitely one of the important things that you must do or you must take note of is if you have a physical center, definitely how your center looks and everything is important on Google Maps and all that. Are you on? Do you have a website? Do you have a proper website? And that entire thing will basically form like your whole brand image of your brand or your center or whichever you teach. So you might think that let's say if you run Facebook ads, they only go through Facebook and then they sign up and all that. But increasingly, I think from what I can tell, parents after signing up do check out your website, do check out everything they can see on the net about you.
Social media as well, I think. So the social media, they'll surely see on.
Yeah, correct. So all these things are very important. If you're not listed, or if there's a lot of factors that make it look like they're not sure whether you even exist. I mean, we all know there are a lot of scams and everything these days also. You want to make sure that you are on everything that needs to be, you have everything that needs to be there in terms of your website and everything. In terms of who sets the industry standards, I think we all know. I mean, big brands like Learning Lab and all that, you can always refer that because you know that's the industry standard. So that's the standard that parents will come to expect in terms of what makes a good center. You don't have to do like 100% of what they do, but you want to take note of what is the industry leader doing, and then how you are appearing relative to the industry leader. So this is something that if you have not prepared the necessary things, you can start to prepare. So definitely one of the critical things that you want to prepare is the reviews and all the testimonials and all that. So I think Google reviews is the main go-to these days in terms of when people Google you and then they see how many reviews, how many stars and all that kind of thing. So that is definitely very important. I think Facebook reviews not as much in terms of like reference point. Reference point, I think more Google reviews these days. So you can focus in terms of Google reviews, and then the reviews can then be displayed anywhere else. Yeah. So I will not talk too much about, but I guess you guys know that there are video testimonials, there are all that sort of thing. But I think Google reviews as the main starting point, I think would be really good in terms of building up. So these things take years and months to build up. So it's not something that you want to build up and then you can just get 100 to 100 reviews immediately. But you want to kind of like have a process that it takes time and then it's building up over time. So this will help you in the future. Even if you are not planning to grow so fast now, but you probably need to start building all these things so that you're ready when the time comes. Yeah. So that's about most of the coverage points for Test Your Center. Then of course the next point I'll move towards is more regarding to ads. So that's the thing that I so-called like specialize in. But I think even before we talk about digital ads, one of the things I do is to check that the clients that come in have all these things first. Because if not, then even if we start, it's kind of like doomed to fail when it even starts. So kind of nowadays I can even kind of let people know that they have to do certain things first before we are even ready to like start on something together. Because I think it's not fair that we just run and then rely on luck or anything to kind of like get results. So the points that I covered before are the points that you probably want to get prepared beforehand. And then the points I cover now is when you have those points, then these are what you consider in terms of ads. So in terms of digital ads, I think the main thing is whether you have started trying or you have not started like running ads. If you have started running ads, I think you have a certain benchmark. That will be good. So you have a certain benchmark of what works, what doesn't work. If you have not reached the point, some people do start on digital ads like Facebook ads, Facebook, Instagram, and Google and search and so on. If you have not started or you've started and you failed, I just want to assure you that there is a way that definitely works because I've been doing this for 10 years. So there's definitely a method that works, but you need to find what works for you. So the thing that works for even working across clients, the thing that works for different clients can be different things. So for some maybe trial class kind of works well for them. For some they do like to do consultations, and then for some people they like to do webinars or like workshops. So you really want to test to the point where you know which one gets you the best kind of enrollment numbers and you're comfortable with before you kind of like dial in and then just make sure that you have all the ads and all that are working. The good news about this is that the general ad principles that work, a couple of years ago and now are pretty much the same. Because anyway, you're selling a certain product, right? In terms of like teaching, tuition, getting results, and so on. That fundamentally doesn't change. And then every new year, there's a new set of parents, correct? So new set of PSLE parents, new set of O-level parents and all that. So the market refreshes itself in terms of parents. And if you find something that works, tendency is it can tend to work for some time. You might just need to refresh the creatives from time to time. So that's the main thing. I just quickly answer JJ now. So how do you narrow to what works for you? Basically, you have to test. So there's no kind of other way. So let's say if you run like I would say anywhere between a $250 to $500 test on ads will get you some numbers that you can use. Either let's say on a trial class or on a consultation or webinars. You want to use that to run small tests to find what works for you. Yep. Anyway, I guess it's a related point. So if ads do not work for you, like I mentioned, right, it probably links to all the points that I mentioned before I came to this point, which is all the things that you might want to have ready. It could be certain things like there's not much online presence that you have, that, when parents Google you, they get a bit suspicious and hence they do not convert as well. It could also be on your ads site there is something that is not working. Let's say if you are offering a very extreme example, you're offering free resources. And then from the free resources, you're contacting the parents and asking them to come for a trial class. So that is a bit of a stretch because they may not be looking for a tuition at all and all that. So you want something that is a bit more direct in terms of inquiry or in terms of certain offers that meet up for that will naturally link to a class to be a bit more relevant for that. Yep. So that's the overview of it. Yep.
Can I add my 2 cents
Then-
as well?
Sorry. Yep. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. First of all, you want to know what's working for you, and if you have been collecting testimonials, right? You're something that you should start off from there, and you when you run it through word cloud, okay, what word cloud does is it actually look through all your words, right? And then and the more the words appear in the testimonial, the bigger the font size. Yeah. So there's something that you must look at. Yeah. And you'll be surprised that when people what people may praise about you is not really the subject. I mean, at least in my own experience, like for me, it's always helping the kid to gain confidence, as much as they come for me for math lah. Yeah. So if you have not been doing testimonials, start doing it now. You can just send a Google form to your parents and ask them what they like about you and what else can improve lah. And on top of what Gary said, when you run ads, right, the data will actually help you will tell you what's working and what's not working as well. Yeah. So the data will tell you lah. Yeah. Yeah. And then also having said that, you also need to be comfortable with reading and analyzing data. And on top of that, just one last point before I pass back to Gary is one of the things to growing is you need to be comfortable to invest. Yeah. Okay. Why? Because I mean, I'm talking to many educators now, and one of the things that I caught is I want to grow, but I don't want to invest money. Yeah, that's something that I don't hear from big players who are once small. They really invest one, and they see investment as part of the business cost. Yeah. So if you already are serious into growing, right, you must invest. Yeah, invest in people, invest in yourself, invest in marketing costs, invest in getting a bigger space. Everything comes out to money and dollars and cents lah. So for me, it's always back to fundamentals. What is your relationship with money? Yeah, if let's say you're someone who look at I invest, I'll definitely get ROI. Yeah, then that's something that's positive. But I also see and hear from people say I invest, will I get the money back or not? Yeah, I think there's a lot of fear and a lot of personal aspirations now. Something for all of us to be mindful about. Yeah.
Thanks, John. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I guess related to that point also, I think if you want like here are some good benchmark numbers if you want to know in terms of like what is a good amount of money to spend to get a student and that kind of thing. So I think at scale, that means we are saying this is something that you are spending like thousands a month on ads and all that. Usually we are looking at getting a student for every cost that's equivalent to about 1 to 2 months of your tuition fees. So in other words, within 1 to 2 months, if you can break even on your ad spend, that's generally quite a good kind of average benchmark to kind of like aim for. So that's probably in the range of a few hundreds of dollars. So that's a bit more of a realistic figure to go for. I mean, I think if some of you have seen the ads that is running in terms of like, promising like $5 per student sign up and that kind of thing, I think I can safely more or less say those are largely scams, because if you can spend $5 and get a student sign up, you can be learning lab pretty easily. So I think you just be doing the numbers realistically yourself, that's kind of like impossible already. So be aware of like all these things that are being promised and all that as well. Yeah. So other than that, I think if you're of course starting on a small scale by yourself, it's definitely worth considering to run ads yourself, because of course then you don't have to employ an agency or whatnot to kind of do that. After that, once I think if you have tried it yourself, then you have a bit of comfort level in terms of like knowing what to do and what not to do. Having some overview of like what the stats look like and stuff like that, I think that's useful. And then you can move on to either there are only 2 pathways. Either you get an agency permanently, which some of my clients do, or they hire in-house in terms of having an in-house full-time marketer to work on all the socials and everything. So I think either way could work. So there's no really right answer to this. Depends on what's your comfort level. Yep. So that's for the marketing stuff.
Yeah, maybe I add one more thing lah. The other thing is I think I also caught what Gary said is when you invest, right, just be ready that to break even is 1 to 2 months of the tuition fees that you ever collect from this new customer. Yeah, the other thing is I think what I learned along the way is also delayed gratification. Yeah, it's not like you put the money today, right, immediately you get the ROI back. Yeah, I mean, again, like what Gary said, if it's still a business after all, you need time for the business to grow and give it some time. Yeah, sometimes because when there's stress, right, it's because when there's high stress, right, it's because your expectation as well. If you expect the business to give you like tomorrow, like today you run ads, tomorrow your students increase from 10 to 200, right? I think that will give you a lot of stress. Yeah, so please give yourself some runway, like 1 to 2 years to grow your business. Because I think from my experience talking to center owners with 200 or even 500 packs, right, they also took a long time to grow. It's not something that will happen within 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's something you can do, then you can you should look for more funding and then build the bigger center in Singapore.
You can start your own
Somehow you have
marketing
them.
agency.
Yes.
You can run your own ads and you end up being your client.
Yeah. I will be a client.
Yeah. I think the other thing is well, I think a agency can perform, right, for some Yeah, of course you must get the trusted ones of course, and with good record. I think the other one that some tutors, in my opinion, they are stuck is their conversion. So while there are leads coming in, right, but they themselves, because of their relationship with sales, right, they're not able to convert. What's your advice on them? Because I do have some cases whereby they engage agency, so many leads, then they don't know how to sell. Yeah.
So yeah, that is one of the points that I definitely wanted to cover also. So you must know that actually when you run ads and then you're trying to get students and all that, the key man risk, right, is actually not just you, it's actually the frontline staff following up. So actually I would say, like, if I put it so bluntly, the frontline follow-up stuff is actually even more important than me running ads. Because whatever leads I get for the client, it will go to the frontline staff, and depending on how well the frontline staff does, it determines whether there are appointments, whether there are trial turn-ups, and then follow-up in terms of whether there are sign-ups. So actually the frontline staff, I would argue, is actually much more important. A lot of center owners, if they are kind of like one-man show and all that kind of thing, when they are starting off, then they do it themselves. I mean, for most, of course, maybe it doesn't apply to everyone, but for most owners, you are your best salesman in that sense also, because you know exactly what you're teaching and all that kind of thing. So if you're doing it yourself, I think that tends to have the best results. Then after that, you need to know how to transfer this skill to either an admin staff that's running it for you, or if you have a specialized telemarketer or what. But this is absolutely kind of crucial. I would say if you have this before you start running ads, I think it's definitely very important. Yeah. So you want to, even if you are putting someone new to it and you know it's not been done before and stuff like that, you definitely want to work closely with this person to kind of troubleshoot until the point where you are starting to get results. So a lot of times, in terms of getting leads, I would say not that big of an issue for most tutors. It's just a question of how expensive or how cheap the lead is. But in terms of getting the leads to convert, if you're seeing 0-0 across the board, chances are the follow-up is kind of actually a bigger concern. Yeah. I don't go too much into follow-up scripts or whatnot, but you definitely want to look at the follow-up process and make sure that it's happening as it should. Yeah.
I think for the follow-up, if you find that you are not so good in following up, right, guys, you get someone, either you automate it or you get someone, which also it costs money. So once you're ready to grow, right, and you're serious into growing, right, you need to put money on, because people cannot work for you for free. The other thing is, what I can suggest is, do you have a funnel to engage the prospects? So for example, a quick one that you can consider is get the prospects in for a free webinar that's low cost. Then the mindset to do it is to run the webinar for your own clients. Yeah, so it's not extra work for you. Yeah, then when at the end of the webinar, then you can convert them and ask them for paid trials. So the funnel thing is also another topic, which is also a big giant that can be covered another time. Yeah, so make sure that you have all these systems already before even if you want to scale. Yeah, I mean, that's my own personal opinion and experience as well when we are growing. Yeah.
So then I guess next point, kind of and bottom point also, currently, of course, we are still getting results in terms of Facebook ads, Instagram ads mixture. Google ads, of course, like research ads and all that, we do get results. The ones that are not so consistent are things like YouTube ads, TikTok ads and so on. Those are not really getting very consistent results. So that's just an overview of what's happening now. Having said that, I think most of the platforms are similar to some degree. Once you learn one, it becomes easier to learn the second one and so on. So the important point in this is you want to adapt with the digital ads and follow. Ultimately, actually, the only question is wherever the parents go, you probably want to go there also. So if they are moving to a certain platform in the future, if let's say every parent is only surfing TikTok in the future, then we have to go there, fortunately or unfortunately. So the key is more of adaptability than any one platform that works. So you want to know where the parents are, in summary. Yep. Then just a quick comment on videos also. Videos definitely can help in terms of improving performance, but it's not an absolute critical thing. I think the important thing is whether the quality of the video is good, more than like quantity. So the only thing I would recommend really in this area is don't do a video for the sake of doing a video, but do a video if you have something interesting to showcase. Sometimes if your center is nice and everything, you want to use it to showcase your center, that will be pretty good. You want to showcase certain student or parent experiences. Maybe they had a very good experience with your teaching. That's something that you can do. Or you want to use it to showcase your unique methods, unique teaching method, if you have any. Yep. So that's for videos. Yeah.
I think the videos ones we can cover a bit more. I think in terms of videos that we do, okay, why? Because for Gary and I, we do run a automated book funnel all the way from January to I think November, right? And maybe 2 weeks in December. So this is the kind of skill they're running. Yeah. So my experience tells me that when we actually convert the image ads to video ads, right? I think our CPA got half, right? Is it?
Certain ones have, yeah. But I just want to say that image also still works. So I think it's not a question of like one or the other. You actually ideally want to have both, because there are placements, allocations that Facebook has or IG has for pictures or for videos. So actually ideally is that you have working variations on like different platforms. There's also vertical, there's also square or landscape and all that. So if you're working variations across the board, I think you tend to do better. But yes, the right video can make a very big difference. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So on top of what Gary said, because some of the placements is like images only, or then you can't put videos there. Like for example, now when you go to Messenger, right, you do see ads as well. Yeah. So there's something for us to take note also. Yeah. In terms of the videos wise, we actually tried AI videos also. I think the conversion not as good as authentic face. Yeah, so something that we tried and is okay. So for maybe I share a bit more on. I know that some of them are trying. They may ask, what about TikTok ads? It didn't work for us, right? It didn't work for us.
TikTok ads, we couldn't track much. Yeah, no tracking of any result. Yeah, in terms of getting clicks and all that, yes, we can get clicks to check out the books and all that kind of thing. But in terms of end result, in terms of buying, I think there were no purchases.
Yeah. So before Gary takes on the question from Brand, so for us, we are doing ads on Facebook and IG. At the same time, for me, I still do content on TikTok. Anyway, the real one that I did, right, I just repurpose it. I put on TikTok, I put in my Facebook page as well. Yeah. So I also put on IG. Yeah. So it's one video that you can repurpose across the 3 platforms. Yeah, and not waste the effort also. Yeah, and sometimes we also use when there's suitability, we also use the same video for the ads, but we change the CTA or call to action. Yeah. So there's a lot of process that you must think through when you want to really grow, because it's not just to get the numbers or the profit or the money that you're going to get, but it's also about the kind of work that you're going to put in, and also looking at sticking to your lane as well. Because a lot of times when we grow, right, we tend to sometimes we may be attracted by other shiny object so end up we lose our grounding. Yeah.
I don't have a good experience of carousel. Yeah, so it has not worked well for me over time. So I like static image like by itself more. Yeah, if let's say you have multiple images, right, I would rather test all those images separately. Yeah, than put them in the carousel, for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just the placement looks very weird overall in terms of like the scrolling, and the headline gets a bit cut off and stuff like that. So it personally has not worked well, but I've seen it around. So it may work for other people. Yeah.
Yeah. Carousel, okay, if you look at the psychology of people scrolling social media, right, when they see ads, right, so what do? When you look at the thumb, it's up and down, or rather it's scrolling out. Carousel is a break of pattern, which is you have to look at carousel and then you scroll left and right. Yeah. Unless I do see before some carousel ads are not from the local scene, whereby it's very storytelling. Yeah. So in fact it says ad, right? It is like a story post. Yeah. So I think that one also is a test of your storytelling skills. How do you make an ad so good that it actually blends in with the social media? Yeah. And I actually see the carousel ad. I thought it's interesting. And sometimes I think, and that also made me want to follow the person, the account. Yeah. So back to fundamentals, you still must test what works for another brand, right? Teaching the same old thing may not work for you. What works for you may not work for other people. So you still have to test on. Yeah, I hope this amount of work will not scare you away. Because if you want to grow and get the money right, you have to test. It's work to put in. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, the other way to think of it is because it's actually not that straightforward to build something that works, right? It also gives you a certain barrier to entry. Because definitely I can tell you for a fact that 7 to 10 years ago, you can write any ad and then you will start getting results. There was a time when that was true. But right now, I think there's a lot more competition compared to last time. But I think the good news about that is if you build something that works, then it is an advantage that you can kind of maintain for a sustainable period of time. So I think it's definitely worth investing the effort to do so.
So any of your dream is worth chasing for. Yeah. So
Yep.
so do not let all these walls stop you. In fact, when you are serious about building a dream business, right? What all the things that we said, right? No matter how hard they are, it should be it's an opportunity for it's a door for you to open and step through. Yeah. So right now, what we're trying to do with this session is really to share with you what's out there, and we can only show you the door. It's up to you to walk through.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm conscious of the time. So I just want to kind of also end off. I think most of the points I want to cover, I covered. I just want to end off with also saying if you are a smaller center or tutor, then definitely you need to know what are your advantages and disadvantages. Of course, you do have the amount of locations that a big center has, but what you have in terms of advantage is more personalized service. So in terms of the kind of experience you can give the parents, it is definitely not on the same level of a typical what learning lab or a big center will be able to provide. So you want to leverage that to your advantage to get more referrals, to get more of that building that fans or whichever booking for you. And then that can kind of help you get to that next level that you want to get to. Yeah. So I think small also have its advantages. So you want to make full use of it. Then of course, maybe final point in terms of AI, I think that's probably a very big question in terms of how much AI should I use and stuff like that. I think you want to use it in a way that it helps you to differentiate. Because the thing that I really see that's happening a lot nowadays is with AI copywriting and all that, using to copy all that, everyone start to look about the same, if you know what I mean. There are certain patterns of speech that, or you see certain ads that you see and okay, this is written by AI and stuff like that. So you want to kind of use that to your advantage. If you train the AI properly and if you are using it in a proper way, you can still use it in a way that it speaks at your voice, kind of like how you want to do it uniquely, versus just some typical bullet points of stuff like tuition and all that. Yeah. So you definitely want to, if everyone sounds the same and then you also sound the same, then you're not going to stand out. So you want to use it. The fact that everyone is using AI copy, you want to use it to make yourself stand out by doing it differently. Yeah. So I always use AI in terms of first drafts, but I will actually edit the whole thing kind of manually to make it a bit more unique for the clients that we work with and all that. So that's just a quick note about that. Yeah. I think if it's okay, then I think we can open up for a bit of Q&A. Then we can end off on this. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your cap that you can serve? Not saying that we can't grow beyond that, but what is the cap that you truly feel is most comfortable with you? If it's 51, right, it's 51, not 52. If it's 201, it shouldn't go to 202. And you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So you need to be very comfortable with the number. If you feel that 51 is good, then go to 52. I start to feel a sense of resistance, right? Then stick to 51. Okay. Yeah. I got one client, ex-client, doing one lady show, 78 students. Yeah. And that's all she can take. 79, you'll break her system. You'll break her workflow. Yeah. And she's doing all alone. 78 students, and that's it. Now go beyond. Once go beyond, you'll break. With us, based on your experience, right? What should be the next action that they can take? And if they want to contact you, right, how should they go about it?
Yeah, I mean, we have a website, so definitely can consider doing that. I mean, if let's say you're looking for someone to work with you and stuff like that, definitely you can let John know. I think he can probably share with you my contact and stuff like that. So
are you okay to
type down my website? Yeah.
Are you okay to post your phone number here?
Oh yeah, I'm good. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, just type your number here.
Let me just type it down.
Yeah. If you have any curiosity, any questions, right, you can just contact Gary. Remember everyone, if you